All right, yo, what's going on, all my gamers, all my Uma Musume gamers chat? This video I've been excited for. I know Mujin released this, or I seen on Twitter that he released it, and I knew I had to watch it, dude. I love the horse girlies chat. I love them more than anything. My favorite is obviously Symbolic Rudolph. Chat, before anything I do want to say, please leave a like and comment on the video and subscribe. Interact with it any way you can. You know, they changed the algorithm in a way where we kind of have to chill out saying this in the beginning. I don't really like doing it. I prefer doing it at the end with my outro. That's why it's part of it. But, you know, it's what it is. I've been fighting this thing for a while, so, you know, I'm really resilient. They don't know. Don't worry about it. Anyways, chat. A chaotic history of a horse girl game that took over the world. Let's go. I was not expecting this to take over when the global release happened, but let's watch this video.
Meet Jiankui He, a Chinese scientist who had created a genetically modified baby, breaking every ethical law regarding genetic research and being sentenced to jail for 3 years back in 2019. After being released, he would somewhat disappear for a while until he got access to social media, most namely Twitter. And in classic supervillain fashion, he would tweet out, every pioneer or prophet must suffer while staring intently at the camera, all while continuing his genetic research. Like,
did I click on the right video? I think I did.
Nothing had happened. This would, of course, make him go viral. But what were people's reactions here? Were they shocked? Were they outraged? Were they scared? No, they kept spamming him, pestering him even, with one request.
What?
Eventually, there will be so many people requesting the same thing that he had to make an entire post responding to it, saying, "Stop asking for cat girls. I'm..."
Oh my god. Chat, remember when Elon said he was gonna make cat girls? And then he made an AI, what's her name? Misamane? It's kind of the same thing, right?
Trying to cure disease. This dude.
Imagine going and being a scientist, right? You did all your education, you're going into debt for it. You come out, you're, I don't know if he's a leading scientist. I literally just forgot what he just said he was. And the first thing people say is, well, can you make a cat girl? I think the more important question now that everyone else has is, can you make a horse girl?
Dude was sentenced to jail for creating genetically modified babies and forging the ethical paperwork.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
The only thing people were concerned with was cat girls. Yeah, I mean, it comes as no surprise, guys. Anime girls have taken over the world. But look, if the movie Ratatouille has taught me anything in life, it's that things are better when combined together. And so some of the most intelligent people on planet Earth saw cats and thought, wow, this is really cute and adorable, like anime girls. Why don't we combine them and create cat girls? The result? A massive success. This, of course, made even more people think, until a particular group of people came up with a very interesting idea. They thought, well, look, humans love cats, right? I'm sure they love dogs too, but what's one animal that's been with us since the beginning? An animal humans share a very important bond with. Horses. So listen to this genius idea, right? What if we took anime girls and gave them horse ears and horse tails? Then we would put all these cute anime horse girls together on a track and have them race just like horses do during...
Chat, I can't lie to you. It was in front of us the entire time. Like, we know we should have known this. And, I mean, someone did do it. Now they're probably going to print money for the rest of time. Whoever created this game, they'll never have to work again. Their family will never have to work again. They're done. They won. This game is really good, too.
Horse races. But get this, okay? Things don't end here, because these horse girls are living a double life. When they're not racing on the horse track, they're idols. Dancing and singing in top-tier performances to a massive
What song
audience.
is this? How do I get this
Sounds absolutely insane, right? I mean, seriously, horse girls, anime horse girls racing on a track. You've got to be shitting me, man. The concept of gacha games is already niche. And horse girls in a gacha game, you won't find anyone to play them.
I just think the craziest thing is how this took over, right? I didn't really think I was gonna see another game take over as much as Genshin Impact has back in the, during the dark times, during the lock-in times. And yet this game somehow, without the lock-in buff, has surged to the point where everyone is playing it. Everyone was playing Genshin Impact on release. Everyone is playing this game right now. I love it, dude. It's insane.
Nope, I was severely wrong. Look at this chart.
87,000 people. Can I look that up right now? Wait, chat. I'm actually so curious. I need to look that up right now in the middle of this video. You guys are watching me look at this up live. What is the more 87? Yeah, that was from a week ago. 87,000 people. I wonder if it's because of Kita-san Black releasing. Hey, you know what, chat? Wuthering Waves could never.
Just on Steam, with a peak of 87,000 people playing at the same time. That's not all though. The game hasn't even been out for 1 month globally and has already reached over 1 million downloads on the Google Play Store. Still not surprised? The game has gotten so popular on Steam that it has beaten every single game on the platform to claim the #1 spot for most downloaded games in this current period. Now you might be thinking, okay, fine, maybe it's like this mass hysteria going on. Maybe this concept is so ridiculous people downloaded it, but then realized, it's not really for me, right? Look at these reviews. 94% very positive with almost 15,000 reviews on Steam. This game didn't just get downloaded a lot, it's now critically acclaimed.
Let's
but
go.
If you're still somehow not shocked yet, well, get this. Gacha games are typically liked by a very specific demographic. Young.
All right, you didn't have to put me on screen like that, bro. Hey, I have this shirt too. I don't have that shirt. Is that even a shirt? I wonder if it is.
Adults who usually love anime. When it came to this horse girl gacha racing game though, it reached children, their parents, and their grandparents, doing the impossible and targeting every single conceivable demographic. Guys, it doesn't matter where you go. The metro, the airport, your office, you will most likely see someone playing this on their phone. I say this with no exaggeration. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has taken over the planet. And I haven't seen a gacha game do this since Genshin Impact.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Pandemic. But if this still doesn't shock you for whatever reason, then get ready to get sucker punched in the face, because that's exactly what happened to me when I started seeing headlines like this. Uma Musume developer Cygames is a title sponsor for Grand Prix de Paris, a prestigious horse racing event founded in 1863.
Chat. You know what, chat? When is the... Chat, when are they gonna have the Steel Ball Run JoJo's Bizarre Adventure collab? That's coming out soon. I'm just saying, it's there. I hope. And JoJo's is beloved. You know what I'm saying? Tell me it's not like it's. Do you see the vision? I hope you see the vision.
An event being held for almost 2 centuries, and their logo just happens to be on an image of an anime girl that is also a horse. What the fuck is going on, and how did we get here? Well, none of it was straightforward, and this game almost failed to release. Uma Musume Pretty Derby has a somewhat chaotic but also very interesting history. And seeing how it's practically dominated the world,
this is kind of what I wanted to look into too, because I did just straight up say, yeah, this game was easily gonna be the best game ever released now, and not really taking into account that we have the global port. We don't have this game. We never had this game in its infancy, so we don't really know any of the problems. I'm very interested to hear what has happened through its history.
We need to talk about it, so let's do this.
Right.
Man, horses are such silly animals, but you know what other animals I like? Warships, warplanes, and war tanks, baby.
War Thunder,
and the best
brother.
part about this is that I can find all these vehicles and 2,500 other variations in War Thunder, a vehicle combat game so comprehensive in details that it has over 70 million players on all platforms, including PC, consoles, and mobile
Wow.
devices. These vehicles are as detailed as possible, and they span multiple eras. You can then customize these vehicles to your liking.
Just like
this leads us to my favorite thing about War Thunder, the fact that there are no simple hitboxes. Every vehicle has engines, fuel tanks, weapons, and crew. That's the level of detail we're dealing with.
Was this the game that had Russian Badger in it, or is that
because
a different
if you're
one?
a new player or a returning player who hasn't played the game in over 6 months, you get free premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions,
Right, I think that was
7
like
days
Warships
of
or
premium
something.
account, and much more, available for PC and consoles. So if you're interested, make sure to get the game for free by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you so much, War Thunder, for sponsoring this video.
Shout out to War Thunder.
All right, guys, by now, you know the
Discount
drill. To
code
really
Mujin.
understand the significance of all this, we need context. And in this case, it's going to be a little history lesson. And we're going all the way back to the year 1603, the beginning of the Tokugawa period, otherwise known as the Edo period. This period would be the most traditional period in Japan, mostly because it would be incredibly isolated from the rest of the world. The people in power at the time feared outside influence. In fact, their biggest fear was Christianity. You'd have missionaries from European countries come in to spread the gospel, and people were converting fast. The Japanese leaders saw this as a way for Europe to slowly take control of Japan, so they took extreme measures. They completely locked
Which is really funny because now Japan's taking over the world with anime girls.
down the country, except for a select few traders who only had access to specific ports. Japanese
this
people
art
were
is
not
so
allowed to
beautiful.
leave Japan, and if they did, they wouldn't be
really
allowed
cool.
back. And more importantly, Christianity was outlawed. The shogunate took extreme measures and massacred over 37,000
So where does Yasuke fit into all
Japanese
this?
Christians, making it go almost extinct in Japan
You
and
suck,
ruling
Ubisoft.
for over 2 centuries. This would all change in 1868, when the Tokugawa shogunate would lose its power and the Meiji Restoration would take its place. One could say that this period was the opposite of the Tokugawa shogunate's military rule, completely opening up the country, technologically advancing very quickly, and fully embracing the idea of an industrialized nation that can compete with Europe and North America. That way, they don't face the threat of colonization. During this new era, you'd start seeing more foreigners in Japan, like British and Americans, specifically around port towns. Their numbers would start becoming significant to the point where they'd start having their own communities built around those port towns. This is where, to kill time, Westerners would start playing the sports they knew, like rugby, cricket, and of course, baseball, which is now the most popular sport in Japan today. But according to the 500-page book titled Routledge Companion to Sports History, which outlines the origins of sports all around the world, horse racing in Japan was introduced as early as 1862 by those same Westerners. And within just 8 years, the first jockey club in Kobe was formed in 1870. You see, the Japanese, much like the rest of the world, also had a special connection to horses. They also loved the idea of entertainment. So they latched onto the sport very quickly, as you can see from this old drawing. Japanese people are on their horses about to race, but the people organizing it can be seen on the left here. And they're foreigners, they're Westerners. Today, it's seen as a prestigious sport, with the
Japan Cup
having some of the highest prize pools on the planet.
I've lost it a few times.
Taking the sport very seriously, wanting to compete on
anyone else having trouble with rice shower? Or is that just me? Sorry, go ahead.
Even footing with foreign horses.
I'm having a lot of time, a hard time with training rice shower. It's really bad.
$8.3 million, with first place claiming $3.8 million.
God damn.
And even though horse racing was
actually, I'm not even that surprised about the prize pool, right? Because it's just like it's even. And I'm using this as a reference, right? Because I literally just watched this again. Squid Games. Even Squid Game starts off with a horse racing. You know, when Gihun wins at a horse racing track, and you know, because I recently rewatched that, and you know, especially with when they first introduced the Cobb. Man, I wonder what happened in his story. I hope it gets fleshed out. Smile.
Such an important sport in Japan, there was a problem. Interest was kind of waning. When you go to a horse track, you'd mostly see men who are in the older demographics. You wouldn't see teenagers, young adults, kids.
Really? I really thought that people kind of always loved it, and it was like something that's always going to be around. That's kind of interesting that it was dying out slowly.
Kids or even women that
Weird.
much. In a way, if things kept going this way, then the sport would have probably died out in a couple of generations. It was simply seen as too old-fashioned. But all of this would change when a particular studio came up with a ridiculous idea. An idea, actually, that almost ruined their company's reputation and potentially could have bankrupted them. I'm of course talking about Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Cyber Agent is a Japanese company that was founded in
Oh, that's who made it.
1998.
Okay.
They started out as a digital advertising company, but in 2011, they decided to expand in the ever-growing video game market. This is when they would create Cygames, a video game development studio. Cyber Agent would own the majority of the shares of Cygames, but sell a few to other companies, like for example,
Wait,
Nintendo.
has it always been a Cygames game? I thought like Cygames is the people that localized these video games, because you know they have other games like the one that I played that I Cygames. The one that I know of is it is a Japanese video game studio. Okay, because I know it for Grand Blue, right? I play a lot of Grand Blue. I play Grand Blue versus Rising, reimagined, remastered, definitive edition, 2025 Game of the Year edition, because it's such a long title. I don't know why, and. You know, that's like my first introduction to Cygames
Who owns
that I know
5%
of. Maybe
of
Blaze Blue.
Cygames. They
Did
would
Blaze
go
Blue
on to
make it?
create some
I don't
pretty
remember.
well-received games,
Shadowverse. Oh, Shadowverse.
like Shadowverse, a digital collectible card game, and of course, Grand Blue
Grand
Fantasy,
Blue,
which was critically
baby!
acclaimed.
Let's go!
But arguably, Cygames' most important game would end up being one of the first ones they'd ever release in
Idolmaster?
2011,
They made
titled
Idolmaster?
Idolmaster Cinderella
Dude.
Girls. This game would be a part of the massive franchise known as the Idolmaster, owned by Bandai Namco, with the first ever game coming out in 2005. Many games for this franchise would release,
this franchise,
and in 2011,
dude,
that's when Cygames would release the Idolmaster
Dude, Idolmaster is huge. Do you see this, chat? This is like Call of Duty, almost like 2K levels of release. 2007, 2008, 9, 10, 11. I can't see right there. We can see this right here. 17. In 2017, they released 2 games. 2018, 2019. Wow, they took a year off. Well, they took 2019 and 2020. They took a year off, but it's okay. 2021, they made 3 more games. Okay, wow.
Cinderella Girls. They made this on behalf of Bandai Namco.
Okay.
What was special about this game is that it was made for mobile phones back in 2011. Namco was seeing the rise of mobile games, and so that's when they asked Cygames to help. The premise was simple. You'd collect a bunch of idol girls and you would train them, raising their stats through lessons. You would then be able to do a number of things like customize their outfits and even spend money on cosmetics. There would also
I thought that was Firefly for a second.
be many different minigames, including a multiplayer game mode where you can fight other players.
Ooh, the
player with
PvP.
the most stats wins. Overall, it was simple.
Was
but
it still a whale
extremely
fest then too?
successful.
Or?
This game was earning more than 1 billion yen a month. Back then, that was around $13 million. It was revealed that more than 75% of players who got the game chose to pay for either in-game items or energy in order to play more. And according to this article, in August 2012, the game had made 9 million USD, which is more than the cost of developing the game. This game was making more money monthly than it cost to make. And all it did was just feature a bunch of idols that you trained, up their stats.
I'm not going to lie, even hearing this, I think I would be more surprised had I not gotten into gacha games, especially games that have PvP, right? When you look at games like Ethereal Restart, that's the one that I'm thinking about right now because that's the one I played. I think solo leveling erect. Probably the same thing, but I didn't really play that game. These games are just a whale fest, right? Like, are you going to let that guy beat you because he spent $100 more than you? I don't really think so. You're not gonna let that kill your pride, are you? So then you start spending more, and then that guy spends more, and then you spend more, and it's an easy way to get money. It feels like it sounds like a really good strat. I'm not gonna lie.
And got them different outfits.
But it's also sorry, real quick. It's also a very niche strategy because not everyone is gonna fall for that. A lot of people will, mind you, but it creates an even bigger niche in a niche category, right? Not everyone PvPs, not a lot of people like it.
But you see, Bandai Namco is truly taking this franchise to the next level.
Or not everybody likes it. A lot of people like it.
They made a mobile game, and they also made a manga as well as an anime that adapted that same
It's a manga, you heathen.
manga. They were essentially using this franchise to build a media empire, and it was working very damn well.
Okay.
They would continue to hire more developers to create more entries in this franchise, and the most recent release would be in 2024, so it's still doing pretty damn well. This is when Cygames would have some sort of an epiphany. Even though this was owned by Bandai Namco, they were the ones who...
It's shining golden. Sorry.
made this extremely successful game.
When you're in it.
And I mean, it made sense. Why wouldn't a game like that be
he
a
loves
success?
Zenless on Zero
the
music
idol
so much.
industry in Japan is probably one of the biggest, most successful industries in entertainment. It involved finding someone young with talent, absolutely destroying their lives with ridiculously rigid training and extremely unrealistic expectations, and once they get enough popularity, this is when you would milk their fans with a bunch of different media and merch.
Okay. All right. All right, we see where Mujin feels about corpos. Relax, brother. Relax. All right, settle down. Settle down.
People will do anything for their idols. They'll literally buy a photo album of them, okay? This is why the idol industry is such a money printing machine. But here's a fun fact.
I don't want to talk about it, okay?
For you. When it comes to horse racing in the
I
West,
say that
certain
as I stare at my
jockeys
little
who are
girl
the
on my
horse
desk.
riders might have fans. Sure, the horses that they ride also might have fans, but it wasn't anything crazy. In Japan, on the other hand, the horses had fans, all right. They had their own merch.
Is that who I think it is right there with the pink? Is that her? Is it? Is that Harurara? No way.
They were recognized by name. Some even had superstitions made around them.
Harurara!
I mean, this is just a talent
Let's
Japanese
go.
people have to idolize anything they like. And as much as this sounded ridiculous, there was big market potential here. Cygames had made a
Gold
very
ship.
successful idol game,
Gold
and
ship.
yet horse racing was a deeply historical aspect of Japanese culture while also having those same idol traits.
Right.
You know what else is interesting? When it comes to entertainment, the idol industry is very profitable.
Dude, that
sure,
looks
but
really
one thing
cool.
Japanese people love to do is gamble, baby. A Japanese person not knowing
is this a
pachinko
gamba
is
room?
like an American not knowing what a burger is.
Huh.
At this point, it's practically cultural. I mean, look, it goes without saying that horse racing was very popular in Japan because of the whole gambling aspect of it. And now you can gamble on a simulated horse race. It's not even real. And you place your bets on this spaceship-looking machine, bro. This looks insane.
I'm not saying I would. Actually, maybe. I don't see why not, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of gamba. I'm just saying this looks appealing to me. It looks really cool. I don't know why.
Insane. That's how much they love it. And finally, just like how idols and gambling are huge in the entertainment industry in Japan, we can't forget to talk about anime. And in the early 2000s, many artists were having the amazing idea of giving anime girls cat ears or just small animal features.
Yes, ma'am.
Not to mention that there were already examples in media taking this a step further. Instead of giving them animal features, they would give them features of objects.
Dude, I don't know what is it. I know what it is. I don't know why I just said that. I'm trying to like stall for me not to look like a gooner, but I am. Man, I love Azure Lane, dude. It's so good.
Like how the game Azure Lane has you collect these hot anime women that are meant to be World War II battleships. I'm not even joking, bro. Look, this woman's called Azuma, and she's part of the large cruiser category.
Yeah, she is.
She's stationed in the camp Sakura Islands. This is meant to be a battleship, bro, like an actual boat. Do you understand? And man, does she have some big cannons, let me tell you that much. So
I'm gonna update my game after this video.
I don't know who the genius at Cygames was, bro. It could be the CEO, it could be a producer. Someone had the brilliant idea to sit everyone down and say, hey, what if we combined all these elements together, right? For the gambling, we make a gacha game.
Gamba.
For the anthropomorphic cat girl part, we make horse girls. And for the idol part, we base them off the most famous horses in Japan, while also making them sing and dance, because why not? Now, be honest, if you were one of those people listening to this pitch, would you have signed off on this? Because it obviously sounds ridiculous, right? Most people probably wouldn't have. But Cygames has...
That's a good question. Would I have signed off on that had someone brought this up to my attention? The thing about it is that it sounds like an easy idea now, right? Tapping into a market of people that you know are going to pay. You know you're making a good game, and you have something to hook people with. It sounds really simple now, right? But back then, I don't think I would have. I would have been the dumb guy, like years later, being like, God, I should have said yes to that. maybe I would have. I want to give myself more credit and to be like, yeah, I would have done it. But you guys have to remember, I used to not even like mobile gamings before. And now it's all I play, which is really funny.
Top tier drugs in their office because you know what? They said yes. They then wasted no time getting started on the
that's so cool.
revealing it for the first time on the 21st of August 2016 at the Anime Japan Expo. Excitement for this game was...
Sorry. When did you say that? Was it 20 when? 17.
21st of August 2016 at the Anime
2016,
Japan
got
Expo.
it.
Excitement for this game was actually already starting to build up, and that made more people want to know more details about Uma Musume. So on January 2017, the main content producer of Cygames, Akihiro Ishihara, was asked a bunch of different questions during an interview, and one of them was, please tell us about the development status. And he said, this game is about 25% complete. Keep that number in mind. But for now, this interview had...
What if they brought... What if they brought a piece of paper and it's just an Uma Musume and it had a crude drawing of a girl with like a horse tail? Look, guys, this is our new game.
Also revealed many of the horse girl designs, as well as
Simply
the famous
Rudolph,
horses they're based
my
on.
beloved.
It seemed like they knew what they were doing. And they had
Amazon
learned their lessons
Telesica.
with Bandai Namco. They were going the Idolmaster route, not just aiming to make one good game. They wanted to make a media empire around Uma Musume. So just a couple months after that interview, in March 2017, they released a manga. But they weren't done yet because they wanted to adapt this manga into an anime and were going to enlist the studio PA Works to do it. The plan was to release this anime in 2018 in parallel to the game's release. That way both would help each other and they would start off with a strong symbiotic media empire. That was the plan, except nothing, and I mean nothing in regards to release dates went according to plan.
Dude.
The Uma Musume Pretty Derby anime would release on April 1st, 2018. It wasn't just limited to Japan, it had a simulcast with Crunchyroll in select regions of the world. It was almost an instant success. Similarly to how people love the idea of cat girls, the idea of horse girls was also very well received. But a couple of aspects that it was really praised for were one, its attention to detail, and two...
Special week holding the phone like that. I mean, I know why, right? Because her ears are up here. I never really thought of that. I hadn't really seen that much. Man, that really is attention to detail. I've never seen anyone else do this. Have I seen a cat girl answer the phone? What? Huh. I don't know. That's going to bother me. That's going to keep me up at night now.
It's very skilled world building. But we'll get to that later. Right now, there's more pressing concern going on. As the anime was running, the game would release 3 more teasers on April 19th. It showcased a race, a live show, and a story/training section. I can't show you those videos because they've been privated, but overall, it seemed like everything was going according to plan, with the game scheduled to release around the end of 2018. This would be confirmed again on July 2018, with yet another trailer showing off the game and its mechanics, announcing at the end that it was going to release at the end of 2018. As people were waiting, wondering when the game was going to come out, Cygames took their sweet time and only announced on December 15th, 2018, literally the end of the year, that Uma Musume Pretty Derby has been delayed in order to raise the game's quality, saying that they will reveal the new release period at a later date. I mean, okay, not a big deal. I mean, it would have been nice if you told us earlier, but one delay doesn't hurt, especially if the game's going to be better for it, right? Well, the game got delayed again in 2019. And the new release date was slated to be in 2020. Now, Cyber Agent is a publicly listed company, and just like any publicly listed company, they would have shareholder meetings. So in their third quarter shareholder meeting in 2020, they re-emphasized to their investors that Uma Musume Pretty Derby was going to be released in 2020, confirming that fact. Just a couple of months earlier, in May 2020, the managing director of Cygames confirmed yet again that Uma Musume Pretty Derby was releasing in 2020. But then, we got to December 2020, and the game was nowhere to be found. But yet again, in the final shareholder meeting
to
of
be
the year
aired
on
2021.
December 12th, investors will be told that this game is still on track to release in 2020, but there were 2 weeks left in the year. It was safe to say that after previous delays, people weren't just thinking, oh, this game's going to be delayed again. They were also thinking, is this game ever going to release? How can you say in an interview in the beginning of 2017 that the game's almost 25% done with a 2018 release date, and yet here we are 2 years later, barely able to make the release? Usually this means that the game has no direction, that Cygames is dealing dealing with an internal disaster. And what really reinforced this narrative is the fact that the game didn't even come out in 2020. We had reached 2021 and the game still had not released.
When is it coming? When did it come out?
On February 24th, 2021, that the game had finally released in Japan.
Let's go!
And while it was cool that the game had finally come out, people didn't really know whether to be excited or worried. Especially with how Cyberpunk 2077 had released just a couple months earlier, and even though it's been delayed multiple times, had one of the worst launches in history. But you know what? As hard as it was to...
Well, on the bright side, Cyberpunk is now an amazing game, and it has a great anime with a, you know, a Wuthering Waves collab coming in 2045.
Believe this was not the case with Uma Musume Pretty Derby. People were so addicted to the damn thing they couldn't stop playing. The gameplay loop definitely took inspiration from the work on Idolmaster. Your horses, or horse anime girls, would have 5 different stats that you would train them on. You'd also have many different minigames and many ways to interact with your roster. You would then have your horse, or horse girl, race, competing against others in a bid to win first place. These races would make your heart beat like crazy because there was always a chance that one of the horse girls could use a special ability, including your own, like you're seeing right here.
Cute.
You could be losing a race, and then your horse will all by themselves decide to do this in order to win. It just depends on their mood and how you've treated them. One could even say that this was more exciting than IRL horse racing thanks to all these factors. But the game wasn't over with just one horse girl. Eventually, that horse girl would retire, just like IRL horses, kicking off the inheritance mechanic, just like real life. Here's an example. This is the family tree of the very famous horse, Goldship. As you can see, this is probably more complex than my own family tree, and
I was gonna say that the chat acknowledge your tribal chief. Sorry, I was gonna say that I'm surprised by this, but I'm really not, because if you know anything about Goldship, man, that that boy liked to go, and he's very efficient. Let's just say that he can't miss. Let me see if I can. No, I just want to look at a little bit more of these names. I just thought that was really funny. Tribal chief.
I'm a human. It rivals the family tree of like some royalty from the 1600s or something. This is all done with the goal of creating the most genetically engineered monster that can dominate any race. And that's what you kind of do in Uma Musume as well. The hard work that you put into your now retired horse girl can now be incorporated into your new horse girl by using her as one of her coaches. So in a way, you also become more of a genetic scientist and try to create the perfect horse girl after many...
I don't like that. I don't like the way you put that. What do you mean, genetically engineered? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Just keep going.
Different runs. This gameplay loop was so addicting, it was like playing a Civilization game, screaming one more turn as the police is confiscating your phone from you because you haven't eaten in 3 days. People couldn't stop playing it. But as this game became so popular in Japan, it started somewhat suffering from success, you could say. You see, usually the people who own some of the best racehorses in the world happen to be some very wealthy and successful people. Seeing that Uma Musume's characters are based on real-life horses, they had to go and ask each of these owners their permission to have them in the game. The owners agreed to do that free of charge, not charging any money. This was seen as a very cool and kind gesture from them. But here's the thing, these weren't just horses, these were anime girls that were in many cases pretty. And usually when you present Japan with a pretty anime girl, they will instinctively almost want to draw some pretty lewd fan art.
Oh yeah.
That was a problem. Cygames knew it was a problem, so they created very specific fan-created content guidelines, outlining rules, saying you can't make fan art with the intent to injure the reputation of this franchise or other third parties. You can't do any lewd stuff, you can't do any violent stuff. The owners of these horses did not want to see their horses participate.
I don't think I've ever seen another kind of games have this rule. And if it did, I feel like it wouldn't be a good thing, especially if it's something from the West. Actually, I know it's not good, especially for the West, because I think they did that for, what game was it? No, I don't think they cared for Baldur's Gate. I'm trying to think of a game where they made it work. I know, and it's Stellar Blade. I know they like that shit. Not that one. I'm just trying to think of who. But they've definitely done it. I know that much. When you tell people not to mod games or do something like that, they're just going to do it a lot more. So I'm very surprised people listen to this.
In anything like that. It was a red line for them. But that didn't necessarily make people want to listen. Now, of course, usually
No,
if you were to
definitely
break
not.
these rules, Cygames would just send you a takedown notice
What?
and sue you if you don't comply. But of course, this would be too boring for a franchise like Uma Musume. So some people came up with a rumor that now is regarded as truth in many different circles and has spread like wildfire. If you draw any lewd art of Uma Musume girls, the Yakuza will knock on your door and hurt you. Okay, so as far as I can tell, this all started with this stupid tweet. A Japanese person tweeted this out, saying, the reason why Japanese artists can't draw Uma Musume porno art is that Uma Musume is based on real racehorses and their owners are like mafia bosses who control the Japanese economy and we don't want to offend them. This was tweeted on March 11th, 2021, so very shortly after the game released. Now, I don't know how much attention this initial tweet got, but what really brought attention to this was the second tweet this person would make, saying, please retweet as much as you can for people overseas. It included that original tweet and another image, with that person saying, the content of the tweet and the image is complete bullshit. It is a falsehood that amounts to defamation of the racehorse owners. I have insulted the owners of racehorses and other people involved in horse racing, as well as the staff of the Uma Musume project. Racehorse owners are people who are sincerely committed to the culture of horse racing. They are not involved in antisocial organizations.
I could see that because I think it's because, you know, if you know, over here, if you compare something to, say, the mafia or something like that, like the actual mafia, I feel like it's just kind of a general insult. They just wave it off. You know what? Whatever. No one really cares what you have to say. I feel like when over there in Japan, when you compare them to something like the Yakuza, I think they take that very seriously. Actually, it also goes down to their law because in Japan, they have strict defamation laws. Like, you can't mess with that. People can come for you legally. I probably would have, you know what? I would have taken that down. Say no.
In addition, I tried to make overseas artists complicit in the prohibition of secondary works that significantly worsen the image of the project, which is clearly stated in the official guidelines. This is all due to my short-sightedness and arrogance. I would like to express my deepest apologies to everyone involved and to all those who have supported me. So this apology was definitely over.
He had the spirit. Let's just say it like that. I didn't like the execution, but he had the spirit.
Kill to the initial tweet. It was clearly like some kind of a joke, I guess. It was almost like this person had, I don't know, murdered someone. This made people assume that this person got caught by the Yakuza and forced, at gunpoint to make this apology.
I think they just have strict defamation laws, so you can't really say something like that. The top comment is,
so they found you? And the person said, no, it's not. It's just that I made the wrong statement. Someone else said, I'm guessing they gave you a call. To which this person said, no, it doesn't. Someone said, I'm sorry to hear that the racehorse mafia got to you. I had no idea Japan even had such an intense culture of racehorsing, let alone one run by gangsters. And that person replied with, please don't tell us such bullshit.
Oh boy.
This person was so easy to troll. And this eventually got posted on Reddit. Ironically,
dude, that's what happens, dude. You want to troll, you want to give them a little hee hee ha ha. That's what happens. You shouldn't just say it like that.
Saying, turns out old-fashioned Yakuza are alive and well in Japanese horse racing industry. They are sending goons to stop doujin artists from making drawings of Uma Musume project characters. All of these events have resulted in this becoming a full-fledged meme. Whenever someone mentions, man, I'd love to draw these characters in lewd poses, someone always comes in and comments, hey man, you don't want to do that, the Yakuza's gonna get you. And while it's funny, it's gotten a lot of people to actually believe it, especially overseas. But the truth is that Yakuza doesn't own any of the...
That floor picture. Cute horse girls rule 34.
Especially overseas.
Oh my gosh.
But the truth is that Yakuza doesn't own any of the horses, and that gambling is heavily regulated by the JRA, the Japanese Racing Association. So no, if you draw lewd art, the Yakuza aren't going to knock on your door, but you might get a DMCA notice from a lawyer. But regardless, Yakuza hiccups aside, this game was making bank. In 2021 alone, even though they released 1 month after the year had began in February, they had made over $1 billion.
Oh, dollars! Goodness gracious!
They had made a total of $2.5 billion since release. This is an insane amount of money.
Wait, as of when?
Insane, $5 billion. And by March 2025, they had made a total of $2.5 billion since release. This is an insane...
I imagine now that the global release is out, I imagine this is going to go up a lot more, right? Because you have to remember when Genshin Impact released, it released globally, everywhere at once. So it making about, I think we're heading up to maybe $8 billion. It's not that weird to think about because it didn't just release in Japan or China. I said Japan because this released in Japan, but it didn't just release in its native country. It released everywhere.
Insane amount of money. But what's even more insane is that 90% or more of its revenue came purely from Japan. Cygames had the Japanese population in its chokehold. And as I mentioned, these weren't just young adults. There would be endless stories of people going on the metro, going to a restaurant, going outside, and seeing someone way older than them or way younger than them playing this game on their phone. It became cultural. But here's the thing, Japan, even though open to the rest of the world, still has a very particular market. Just because something is successful there does not mean in any way that it'll be successful anywhere else, especially when it comes to the topic of gacha games. So when it came to finally launching the game globally on June 26, 2025,
I'm trying to think of a popular gacha game that released from Japan recently. I guess Phantom Pain, not that one. Persona 5? Is Persona 5 Phantom X Japanese? I don't remember. But I'm trying to think, right? Now, I'm sure there's a lot more, right? Oh, Fate Grand Order. Yeah, Fate Grand Order, Fire Emblem. There's a lot more than I think. I don't know why I thought there wasn't a lot.
4 years after launching it in Japan, people didn't really know what to expect. It was reasonable to think that it was going to just die out in a few months, with Japan continuing to be its main revenue source. Except what it did was inconceivable. It was absolutely dominating the Steam charts. As you saw in the intro, it became the #1 most downloaded game on Steam at some point. Also becoming an instant success on mobile. But what's really interesting here is that it managed to recreate exactly what happened in Japan, but globally, which was not having a target demographic, reaching everyone equally. Here's a fun example. Northern Lion is a streamer who's 36 years old. He would not in any way be the target demographic of a game like Uma Musume Pretty Derby. No way in hell. But his chat kept pestering him, please download the game, give it a shot, for the love of God, you'll love it. And eventually, he gave in. Now, Northern Lion is a pretty big streamer. He'll usually average around 15,000 viewers. But when he streamed
I've never
Uma
heard of him.
Musume, he had reached his all-time peak of...
I watch VTubers and gacha games. Of course I haven't heard of a 40-year-old streamer. It actually makes a lot of sense.
40,000 live viewers.
Damn.
And you know what the craziest part is? He absolutely loved it.
Yes.
Okay? He fell in love with the game.
I love hearing that. I love that for
everything.
him.
He even had Japanese players seeing some of the reactions from Western players thinking, wow, we got to up our game because these guys are way more passionate than us. Look at this.
Come on, Gold Ship, put it into high gear. I need all you got right now. The Kentucky Derby's on the line.
Let's go! Get in there!
Come on!
It was...
I get so hyped for this game. It's so bad. Chat, quick story. I was actually at the gym one day and I was pulling on my phone because we got like 1,500 carrots. I pulled like I pulled 2 5-star cards and immediately I went, oh, I started yelling at the gym. It was so embarrassing. I was like, oh God, why did I do that? Why did I do that here? Man, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to do that more. I want to go to the gym and play Uma Musume.
No exaggeration, taking over the entire internet. And it showed in the stock price of Cyber Agent, the parent company of Cygames, with its stock market price going up like crazy. But why is that? How is this game such a success, so highly rated, both in Japan and overseas? We've established that the gameplay loop is fun, sure, but there are a lot of games like that. This isn't just a game at this point, it's a cultural phenomenon.
It's deeper
so
than
what
rap.
was something that it did that other games weren't even close to achieving? Well, the horses.
Yeah.
All right, so remember how I mentioned that this game's anime was praised for having immense attention to detail and world building? Well, the game was very similar in that regard too. Seeing that all these anime horse girls were based on real-life horses, Cygames did their homework and examined every single horse and its very specific personality, incorporating all these aspects into their anime character. But that's not all. When it comes to the world of Uma Musume, many things in there were based on real-life locations, like racetracks and areas around it. We're talking anything from train stations to the convenience store where the horse girls buy their carrots. This wasn't just attention to detail. This was making landmarks out of
that's
IRL
really
locations and attributing important history to them. Additionally, this world wasn't just made in like one evening. It made sense, and that's because its world building was very well made. Horse girls in this world are seen as a different type of species. They're treated as well as humans, there's no discrimination, and instead they have a real place in this world. With certain gadgets, for example, made specifically for them. Look at this extremely long phone.
So
it's
cute.
to accommodate her horse ear.
I need to watch this like right now. I'm probably gonna watch this. I need to finish the anime that I'm on right now, and then I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna binge this entire thing. I think there's 3 seasons.
And her mouth. I mean, look at this stupid seat right here. It's made specifically for horse girls so that they don't get uncomfortable with their tails. There's even historical landmarks in the anime, like how there are Moai statues on Easter Island with horse girls. They even took famous Japanese horse racing paintings and converted them to accommodate the world. As you can see, these are horse girls racing.
Cool.
So from a world point of view, this already made sense.
This is
the attention to detail
sick.
was there. And so when it came to the actual personalities of each horse, guys, they couldn't have done a better job. For example, one of the most famous horses in Japanese racehorsing history is Goldship. This is a horse who ran 28 races and won 13 times. An incredible record. But what really made Goldship famous is that he was an absolute diva with the ridiculously unique and
Chat, imagine. I wouldn't know how to feel. I don't even know how to process this information. I have known this information for a while, and I don't know how to process this. Imagine being quite possibly one of the greatest racehorse ever, still winning all these races, and it turns out you weren't even trying. Bro, I wouldn't know how to process that information, because when they went to go look at Goldship in retirement, it turns out he doesn't have like any of the wear and tear that other horses have post retirement. So they're led to believe that he wasn't really trying.
Rage-baiting personality. In 2015, Goldship had a total of 12 billion yen betted on him.
The 12 billion yen incident.
He would win just like he won his other races.
I want to watch that.
What we got instead was the day known as the 12 billion yen incident, when he would do this. Watch. He would simply refused to race. Everyone would go except him. He didn't care. He just didn't feel like it, and so he didn't race, losing people 12 billion yen in bets. Now, this is how Goldship...
Oh, dude, I would be so pissed. That's so insane.
...would look in the game and in general in the Uma Musume universe. They would recreate the same incident
the 12...
in the
yeah, I remember this
series. Watch.
I've seen a clip of this. I think it's Air Shakur. Yabai! Yabe!
And just so you know, they brought back the same exact woman who was casting that day to voice in the anime. Guys, the attention to detail is ridiculous. So seeing that Goldship was an absolute diva, yet at the same time very...
the shoulder toucher meme. Oh, I'm sorry, that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that. Oh my god, dude, the memes of this show is just so amazing.
Skilled, Cygames made sure to incorporate that into Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
Awful.
She'd be very skilled, very talented, and yet
training
would have
options
crazy
have
mood
been
swings, refusing to train,
restricted.
and sometimes, even though having the best stats, would just refuse to race. Like, they're not giving a single shit. This eccentric personality would so accurately be translated into the game that it would create a new overseas fan club for this IRL horse. I mean, look at this. This is a video of Goldship in retirement. Literally just hanging out.
He's chilling.
It has over
Look at him.
2.2 million views. This is just a horse hanging out for 2 minutes, not doing anything except fooling around. That's how much of a sensation he became because of this game and his history.
Horse.
I mean, look, most people would have just stopped there and moved on to a different topic, but not with me, you won't. Goldship's personality wouldn't just end with him being a diva. He would also be one of the most successful breeders, with a successful mating rate of 99.1%, having over 500...
This is so bad to say. I really shouldn't, but I'm going to. he's got that Heisenberg level of spunk, brother. He has got that. He's got it down. He's producing that crystal blue from his cock. It's so bad. I'm sorry.
Children, with a few of them becoming absolute champions. In fact, according to some staff, after he would finish mating with a mare, she would then refuse to mate with anyone else but Goldchip. That's just how good he is, man. But I guess it also explains why he enjoyed it so much. He would swing his cucumber from side to side because of how excited he was, okay? I know this is like a ridiculous amount of detail, but people look into this.
Why do you know this,
That's how obsessed they are
Mujin?
with Goldchip. This isn't just because he was skilled or a massive diva, he was a rage baiter. Like the whole 12 billion yen incident, but also the fact that his trainers realized that, wait a second, in his retirement, he's running even faster than he used to run back when he was still a racehorse.
Here we
making
go.
him realize that he never used his full potential while being a racehorse, almost as if on purpose to spite his trainers. This made people realize that horses aren't just creatures that we share a special connection with. They also have many unique and diverse personalities. Most people have a hard time seeing that though, because we don't really interact with horses that much anymore. So turning them into anime horse girls with proper world building around them made us finally appreciate their very deep and valuable personalities. And no one received more appreciation than the horse.
She's so
Harurara.
cute.
You see,
I
when
love
she was
her.
young, she would go
I love her
unsold
so
at
much.
an auction. Seeing that no one wanted to buy her, she was entrusted to the cheapest racecourse to run in Japan. Her trainers thought that this would be a good chance for her to maybe win since she had a hard time training. But then she went on to lose 113 races in a row, never winning once. However, when she had lost her 87th race in a row, the race announcer, Koji Hashiguchi, would be absolutely shocked at this statistic. He was like, dude, this like never happens. Most horses would have given up by now. They would have retired. So he sent her racing record to national media outlets thinking, dude, this is insane. Like, you got to talk about this. And they did, which made her ridiculously famous. People started going in droves to where she raced, the Kochi racecourse. The wives of the jockeys, the people who rode the horses, took advantage of this and started making merchandise. And get this, at a certain point, people would go to this racecourse just to bet on Haru Urara, knowing very well that they were going to lose, but they would love that because then they'd use that betting ticket as a protective charm for car accidents. They believed that it held special powers, bro. You understand what I'm talking about here?
Funny.
This horse had superstitions made around it. I mean, this was such a big boom that Haru Urara had single-handedly saved the Kochi racecourse from going bankrupt. They were able to pay off all their debts thanks to her. And today, as you can see, Haru Urara is painted on the side here. That's how much of a legend she is. Seeing that she's in the game of Uma Musume Pretty Derby, this prompted both Japanese and global players to select her to try and give her the win that she so very deserved.
I still haven't tried her yet. I want to, but I'm kind of scared. I'm not going to lie. I'll try. I don't know what kind of racehorse she is. I'll have to figure that out and like figure out a build for her later.
In real life, making her one of the most popular characters.
I love her so much. Look at her.
This renewed attention from the global audience with their love for her.
I love this little fact. She used to have a little Hello Kitty face mask.
Aurora eventually allowed them to find out that they can send gifts to her in her retirement because she's still alive.
I love
they
it.
could
Dude,
send her some.
This is so bad and kind of embarrassing. I'm not gonna lie. My cheeks are hurting from smiling so much.
Premium ryegrass directly. They sent 2.7 tons of ryegrass. Usually one person could buy $40 worth, which is 5 kilograms.
Okay.
But people crashed the donation website, and now we're sitting at 2.7 tons. This is an image of this little cutie receiving her gifts, and it's prompted people to draw fan art of this phenomenon. I mean, look at how much ryegrass is in front of her. She has enough food until the end times. 2.7 tons? You're insane. In fact, thanks to this game and its renewed attention on these horses and their accomplishments, many of them who are now in retirement are receiving many donations, able to fully enjoy
That's
their
cool.
older years.
I wonder who's
this is
retired
because this
right
game
now.
didn't just make a lot of money and renew interest in horse racing, but it has single-handedly revitalized the entire horse racing industry globally, specifically
I'm happy
in
that.
Japan. In the world of horse racing, sometimes, unfortunately, racehorses are not able to retire. This can happen for a number of reasons, but usually it's because there's not enough funding. Back when this game released in Japan, it fueled a movement of people donating to many of these famous retired horses, ensuring that they not only live a good life, but that they can continue to live in general. But retirement isn't fun if you just have money. It's also nice when you meet people, when you still interact socially. Many of these retired racehorses started receiving visitors, so much so that Uma Musume had to release an official guideline on how to visit stables and what to do in order to be respectful.
Can you?
For famous horses such as Haru Urara or Goldship, visits sell
Dude,
out.
I would love to go visit Goldship or Harurara. That would be so cool.
Immediately as soon as they're posted. This has led some crazy, ridiculous fans to sneak onto the stable grounds sometimes just to see the horses.
Okay, bro, come on. Let's at least be respectable. I think they deserve that at least, right? Especially Harurara. She deserves to just be respected.
With Cygames completely denouncing that and saying you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's a little far.
But that wasn't all. Cygames was making a lot of money from this game, and they understood that there's a mutual benefit here. If horse racing thrives, they thrive too. And so the president of cyber agents, Susumu Fujita, has become a high roller when it comes to buying expensive horses and raising them for races. Always being one of the leading buyers when it comes to horse auctions in Japan. So far, he has spent...
Chat, make a horse girl game? Raise horses to race, and you have more banners. It's an infinite money glitch.
Easily over $10 million.
I feel like this is legitimately an infinite money glitch.
Horses, and he's not planning on stopping anytime soon. But this isn't just about Japan. This is about horse racing globally. In May of this year, they had announced a partnership with the 151st Kentucky Derby, the most watched and most attended horse race in the United States, taking place since the year 1875.
I don't know if he's. I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna let it go because in case he doesn't talk about it.
Being their biggest sponsor. This also extends to Paris. As you saw in the intro, they're not just sponsoring the Grand Prix de Paris, but they're the main sponsor. And I mean, look, if you show me an image of horse racing, I probably would think,
I saw this. I've been racing against this girl recently. I really like her.
Oh, cool. But if I was a young person and
Manhattan,
saw a
I think is
poster
her
like
name,
this, I
Manhattan.
think, whoa, whatever this is, I want this. Where can I get tickets? It's an extremely mutually beneficial partnership. Additionally, racehorsing merchandise has had a boom in Japan ever since the game had come out, truly turning this into an animal idol industry. These dolls, for example, they sell out like crazy. It's actually very hard to get them, especially if you're outside of Asia. Actually, I think they're keychains, but you get the point.
I think they are keychains,
Cygames
yeah.
is essentially making a lot of money from this, but they were using it
Look how happy she looks, bro. That's so cute.
for good things, making this industry a better place, helping treat retired horses even better, and in general being a positive force in the community. This reminds me how at some point Hoyoverse, the creators of Genshin Impact, had invested in a nuclear fusion reactor, and in 2024 it became operational. Who would have thought that you spending money on
Okay, hold on. Because he didn't talk about it, I really want to talk about real fast about I think it's at the Kentucky Derby. I don't really know. It was in one of the horse what is it called? Horse museums. At one of the horse museums. I don't remember where it is exactly. I would have to look it up. I might even put a picture of it right here. There is an Uma Musume part where they have like poster. I think they have like like a little. I think they have like a special week statue. I don't know. It looked really cool. I really would have loved to go there, but you know, I don't live in that area.
on characters in a gacha game was going to end up...
What is this? Funded by built by Genshin Impact developers, MiHoYo becomes operational. What do they need that for? I don't know what a fusion reactor does. This private initiative aims to harness clean energy. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, goodness
somehow
gracious.
in a nuclear fusion reactor in Singapore. Overall, this industry is revived.
What the
It's
hell?
back. Audiences now feature women, young people, middle-aged people, demographics that horse racing usually wouldn't be able to reach. This has already been
That's so
happening
cool,
in
dude.
Japan, and I'm sure it'll start happening globally thanks to this game. I can't help but laugh when I say this, but it's true. This anime girl horse racing gacha game has somehow been able to single-handedly revive this entire sport while somehow making the world a better place. It's crazy, but it's where we are today. I hope I was able to explain why this game took over the world and why it's continuing to, and I really appreciate you watching until the end. This is a fairly different video from what I usually do on my channel, but hey,
Actually,
I
no,
figured
it
would
doesn't
be
feel
fun.
like it.
Now the sponsor
This
does want
feels
me to
like-
end this video with a message, so before I'll do that, I'll thank you again, say that I love you, and mwah, see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. As a reminder, you can get 100,000 silver
I was
lions,
gonna say,
premium
this seems like a
vehicles, 7
Mujin
days premium
video.
account, and much more. If you're a
Doesn't
returning player
it
that
seem
hasn't
weird
played
to
for
me?
over 6 months, or if you're a new player in War Thunder, this applies to both PC and console. So click the link in the description or the pinned comment to
Oh, I
download
see the
it
ending
for free
screen. What is
today.
it? Harurara, never give up. I love that. Dude, this is such a good video. I really wanted to watch this video. I knew this was going to be such a feel-good video, especially after all the stuff that's been happening in VTubing. I just needed a chat. We just need a little bit more positivity in the gacha space. And I believe that the Horse Girl anime game will be the thing to bring it. A lot of people have a lot of, there's always the Kuro games versus Hoyoverse. There's a lot of tribalism, but there is no tribalism when it comes to Uma Musume. I mean, unless it's like between your favorite girls, but Uma Musume really out here like I have no enemies. Chat, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, boy. I'm gonna have to. The rendering on this is gonna be a while anyway. Chat, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you gamers in the next one. Bye.